Morning children. Today's our topic is about features of constitution. Okay, last class we discussed about what is constitution and what are the purpose does the constitution serve, etc. And last we listed the important features of constitution. Okay, today we will explain which are the important features of Indian constitution. Okay. Which are the important features of Indian constitution? First one, federalism. Second one, parliamentary form of government. Parliamentary form of government. Okay. Third one, separation of power. Separation of power. Then fundamental rights and directive principle of state policy. Fundamental rights and directive principle of state policy. Okay, and last one, secularism. Okay, these are the main features of Indian constitution. Okay, let us discuss one by one. Okay, first we will discuss what is federalism. What is federalism, children? Do you heard about federalism? Okay, federalism is a form of government, means power is divided between central government and state government. Okay, in India, two levels of government are there that you know, central government and state government. Okay, so what is federalism? It is a system where power is shared between or divided between central government and state government. That is known as federalism. Okay, India is an example for federal country. In India, two levels of governments are there. Okay, not only two, one more is there that I will tell children. Okay, government at national level, government at state level. Okay, then after that you know children, central government and state government governing us. Okay, for making the administration more easy or smoothly, a third form of government also there in India. Okay, that is known as local government. Okay, taking the power from central government and state government and given to local government, that is known as decentralization. Okay, decentralization of power. I think you got, children. Okay, then you know I already told no, India have a third tier form of government or a third level government, that is known as local government. Okay, and this local government also known as Panchayati Raj system. Okay, local government also known as Panchayati Raj system. Panchayati Raj system. Okay, what is Panchayati Raj system? It is a three-tier system. Okay, it is a three-tier system. It will include village panchayat, block panchayat, and district panchayat. Okay, district panchayat. Okay, district panchayat also known as Zilla Parishad. District panchayat also known as Zilla Parishad. Okay, so Panchayati Raj system, I think children, you got an idea about Panchayati Raj system. It is a 3-tier system. It will include village Panchayat, block Panchayat, district Panchayat. Okay, so the administration will become little bit more effective. Okay, in the local level also government will be there. Okay, so many decisions or peoples can become actively the part of government. Okay, and some special type of programs adopting time, no, it is very easy. Okay, some economic or social many program will start by the government, no, so it will be more effective if local government also there means. Okay, so I think children you got an idea about what is federalism. Okay, it is a form of government. Okay, that means power is divided between central government and state government. That is known as federalism. Okay, I think you got an idea, children. Okay, then you know in federal country like India, all the powers of central government and state government divided into 3 lists. Okay, the powers of central government and state government divided into 3 lists. Okay. State list, state list, central list, and concurrent list. Okay, these are the 3 main all the subjects that included in many subject will be there in a country, children. Okay, so all the subject that is divided into 3 lists. Okay, based on the 3 lists, each government have their own power to take decision regarding that list. Okay, for example, state list, many subjects included in the state list. Okay, for example, police, agriculture, trade, forest, so many are there, children, etc. So many are there. Okay, so regarding with these subject in the state list, state government only have the power. Okay, state government only have the power to take a decision or make a law regarding the subjects in the state list. Okay, then next one, central list. Central list. Regarding the central list, central government only have the power to take a law or decision regarding that subject. Okay, for example, the subject like defense, okay, foreign affairs, railway, etc. Regarding all these subjects in the central list, central government will only take decision. Clear? Another thing that another list that is the central list also known as union list. Okay, then concurrent list. Regarding the concurrent list, the main decision both central government and state government have equal power to take the decision. Okay, whatever the law regarding to this subject, both central government and state government have equal power. Clear? Okay, we can look some subject in the concurrent list. You know, children, education. Okay, education, marriage, adoption, succession, like that many subjects are there in the concurrent list. Okay, and that list both have the same power. Okay, so all for the administrative purpose, all the list or all the subjects that is divided into 3. Okay, state list, central list and concurrent list. Okay, children, so you know many subjects that sometime you know in 1950 our constitution was adopted. Sometime many subject that came after the formation of our constitution. Okay, so such type of subject not included in these 3 lists. Like that subjects are known as residuary list. Okay, some subject that not included in state list, central list and concurrent list will include in the residuary It is considered as residuary subject or included in the residuary list. For example, children, IT, information technology that you know, recently only it is developed. Okay, so IT, e-commerce, software, like that some subject that included in the residuary list or residuary subject. Okay, I think children you got an idea. Clear? Then you know children, I already told no in India there are two forms of government. Central government is there, state government is there and local government also there. Okay, so that two levels of government, they are sharing their powers or dividing their powers, that also we discussed. Okay, then you know, we can't tell India is a true federal, following a true federal setup. Why do you know? Because in India, central government is more powerful than state government. Okay, central government is more powerful than state government. Clear children? State government subordinate to the central government. Okay, so we can't tell India is in this sense, we can tell India is not following a true federalism. But India is a federal country. Okay, then we will look the example. Example of UK. Okay, UK. United Kingdom. Here also, it also a federal country. Okay, and this UK, both central government and state government independent. Okay, means the central government can rule their own way and state government independently, state government also can rule. Means state government is not subordinate to the central government. Clear? In such a type of countries, we can tell that country is following true federalism. Okay, true federalism in nature. Okay, then we told no, what about India's case? Okay, India is not, in some case India is, okay, in that sense, only in that sense, central government is more powerful than state government, or the state government is subordinate to the central government. In that sense, India is a quasi-federal country. Quasi-federal country. Or India is quasi-federal in nature. Okay. So you got children, you got an idea about the first feature, what is federalism? I think you got an idea about the first feature. Can we go to next feature of Indian Constitution? Okay. Next one, we discuss now children, parliamentary form of government. Parliamentary form of government. Okay, India is following a parliamentary form of government. Okay, this idea we are taken from Britain. Okay, this idea, parliamentary form of government, that idea we are taking from Britain. Okay, so do you know what is parliamentary form of government? Parliament consists of president and two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that you know. And our members, we are elected our representatives. Okay, means you know, through election we are electing our representative. Okay, so that is a parliamentary form of government. You know children, means in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, that mainly consists, that parliament consists of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, election will be held in every 5 years. Okay, we will take the example of Lok Sabha election. Okay, every 5 years election will be held. Okay, for the purpose of election, Lok Sabha, how many constituencies are there in Lok Sabha? 543 constituencies are there. Okay, and these 543 constituencies, election will be conducted. Okay, and after the election, you know which party will get more than half or which party will get maximum seat. They will become the ruling party. Okay, and others will become the opposition party. Okay, and the head of the ruling party, he will become prime minister. Okay, first when the prime minister appointed, prime minister will select other council of ministers. Okay, that is in the case of central, in that way national government is formed. In the same way, state also election will be conducted, that also you know. Every 5 years in each state also election will be conducted. Okay, election will be conducted in the state legislative assembly. Okay, for that purpose, every state is divided into many constituencies. In the same way, election will be conducted, and which party will get a maximum seat, they will become the ruling party. Okay, and others will become opposition. So you know, children, how the election will be conducted regularly in between 5 years. Maybe you heard it. Clear? In that way, election will be conducted in state and in the national level. Okay, I think, children, you got an idea. Clear? Okay, so my question is this, everyone can vote, children? You are voting? No, you can vote. In our school election, you can vote. But what about our election for our state or in the national level? Everyone can vote? No, only the adult, those who became 18, they only have the right to vote. That is known as universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise. Okay, I think, children, got an idea about parliamentary form of government? Parliament consists of President, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Then we discussed how the election will be conducted. Okay, then how the national government is formed, state government is formed, all together, right? Clear? Okay, can we go to our next feature? Okay. Separation of power. Okay, children, in your textbook, one other heading is there, 3 organs of government and the system of checks and balance. Either you can write that heading or this one, no problem. Okay, separation of power. That is another feature of Indian Constitution. Okay, you tell me, children, how power is separated in India? Power is separated between 3 organs of government. Okay, how power is separated? Power is separated between 3 organs. Okay, 3 organs of government. Which are the 3 organs of government? Legislature, executive, judiciary. Okay, legislature, executive and judiciary. These are the 3 organs of government. Okay, legislature will make law. Okay, it is the law making body. Legislature will make law. Executive will enforce the law. Okay, whatever the law made by the legislature, the executive will enforce that law. Okay, then judiciary, what is the main role of judiciary? Interpretation of the law. Okay, interpretation. Okay, interpretation of the law. These are the 3 main organs of government: legislature, executive, judiciary. Legislature make law, executive enforce law, judiciary interpret that law. Clear, children? Okay, then legislature, you know, legislature include Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that is the law making body. Okay, then executive. Executive will include president, vice president, council of ministers, then governor. Okay, they are the law enforcing body. Clear? Then you know judiciary. Judiciary mainly include 3 levels of court. Which are the 3 levels of court? Supreme Court, Supreme Court, High Court and district level court. Okay, district court. Okay, so these are these judiciary will include these 3 levels of court, okay, and every 3 organs they are doing their own work, then only the administration will become smoothly, okay, and any problem will be there, they will check and they will balance the power between these 3 organs. Okay, so I think children you got an idea about separation of power. Power is separated between 3 organs of government: legislature, executive and judiciary. Can we take next feature? Okay. Next, you know children, fundamental rights, okay, fundamental rights. And directive principle of state policy. Directive principle of state policy. Okay, you heard about fundamental rights, children? How many fundamental rights are there? Some rights you know, that is fundamental, means that rights are guaranteed by the constitution. Such types of rights are known as fundamental rights. Okay, how many fundamental rights are there? 6 fundamental rights are there. How many? 6 fundamental rights are there. Okay, I will write 6 fundamental rights, children. Now itself you have to study. Okay, first one, right to equality. Right to equality. Right to freedom. Okay, right to freedom of religion. Right against exploitation. Right against exploitation. Okay, last one, no, 5th one, cultural and educational right. Cultural and educational right. Okay, last one, right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies. These are the 6 fundamental rights. Okay, right to, along with me, repeat. Okay, right to equality, right to freedom, right to freedom of religion, right against exploitation, cultural and educational rights. Okay, right to constitutional remedies. These are the 6 fundamental rights. Okay, right to equality, you know children, everyone are equal before law. Okay, even a domestic servant or our prime minister, equal before law. No one can be discriminated on the basis of their caste, religion, gender, etc. That is known as right to equality. Okay, second one, right to freedom. Everyone have our own freedom. Okay, we can move freely anywhere, any part of India. We have the freedom to express our view We have the right to speech. We can express. We have the freedom to speech. Okay, so that is right to freedom. Okay, next, right to freedom of religion. As a Indian citizen, we have the right to follow any religion. Okay, that is our fundamental right. Okay, next, right against exploitation. As a citizen, we have the right to protect from exploitation. Okay, against exploitation. You know, children, that we faced a lot. For example, child labor. Okay, that it is practiced in India, child labor. Okay, now as per the law, it is punishable. Children can't take for any hazardous work. Okay, as per the Right to Education Act, up to 14 years, education is compulsory. Okay, so right, that we got protection against exploitation. That is, child labor is banned as per the law. That is an example. Okay, then you are here reading newspaper every day. Abusement of women, physical harassments of women, everything that is punishable as per the that our right, fundamental right. We have the right to protect against exploitation. Clear? Okay. Next, cultural and educational right. As a citizen, we have the right to follow any culture, any tradition, any beliefs. Okay, and we have the right to study any educational institution. Okay, means if we have the merit, if we are eligible, we have the right to study in any educational institution. Okay, so that is cultural and educational right. Okay, then sixth one, right to constitutional remedies. Okay, this right will protect all other rights. Okay, these five rights are protected by this right. Okay, what is right to constitutional remedies? You got, children? Means if any fundamental right is violated, we can approach court. Okay, so this right will protect all other five rights. That is right to constitutional remedies. If any fundamental right is violated, we can approach court. Okay, that is why Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, you know, children, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, architect of Indian Constitution and known as modern Manu. Okay, so he called this right to constitutional remedies, as the heart and soul of Indian Constitution. Heart and soul of Indian Constitution. Okay, so question will come. Which fundamental right is called heart and soul of Indian Constitution? So you can write, no, children? Right to constitutional remedies. Okay. So I think you got an idea about fundamental rights. How many fundamental rights are there? 6. Okay. I told, no, children, besides these fundamental rights, another one more thing is there, directive principle of state policy. Directive principle of state policy. Okay. These are some guidelines. What is directive principle of state policy? These are some guidelines to the central and state government of India. To the central government and state government of India for framing laws and policies by which people can lead a good life. Okay, so what is directive principle of state policy? These are some guidelines to the central and state government of India for framing laws and policies by which people can lead a good life. Okay, so directive principle, that also very important, children. Okay, then they also try to establish social economic democracy through welfare state. That is the main idea behind directive principle of state policy. Okay, social economic democracy through welfare state. Okay, understood, children? Can we go to our last feature? Okay, that is What is secularism? Secularism means state free from religion. Okay, government is not promoting any particular religion. Okay, that is known as secularism. All the religions are equal in India. Okay, not given a particular position any religion. State free from religion, that is known as secularism. Okay, you know children, in India we have national fruit, national flower, national bird, national animal. You heard about a national religion? Okay, no national religion in India. Clear? Okay, so state or government is not promoting any particular religion. State free from religion, that is known as secularism. State free from religion. Okay, not promoting any particular religion as the national religion or that country's religion. Every religions are equal. Clear? That is known as secularism. Okay children? Okay, now we will discuss, I think children you got an idea about all the features of Indian Constitution. Okay, now we have a small topic, that is Constituent Assembly. Okay, Constituent Assembly. You heard about Constituent Assembly children? What is Constituent Assembly? This Constituent Assembly will include some indirectly elected members. Okay, some indirectly elected members. They mainly responsible for the framing of Indian Constitution, and that people they are mainly became the part of framing of the Constitution. Okay, they are some indirectly elected members. Okay, elected members responsible for the framing of Constitution. Okay, framing of the Constitution. I think you got an idea about the Constituent Assembly. Okay, then in Constituent Assembly we discussed in the last class children, many members are there in the Constituent Assembly. Okay, that time in the Constituent Assembly 389 members are there. 389 members are there. Among this 17 Malayalis. Okay, 17 Keralites or Malayalis are there, and 3 women or 3 ladies are there in our Constituent Assembly. Okay, total 389 members are there in the Constituent Assembly. Okay, then last class we discussed children the assembly. Okay, the assembly first met in New Delhi. Okay, in 9th December 1946. The assembly first met in New Delhi. Okay, the first assembly met in New Delhi. After that finally they met in November 1949. Okay, and finally you know we adopted or the Constitution is enforced on 26 January 1950. Okay, and that significance of that day also we discussed. That day is celebrated as Republic Day. Okay, so this is about our Constituent Assembly. Okay children, so we discussed these 389 members, they sat together, they discussed together, and finally only our Constitution made. Okay, but framing of this Constitution, that time this Constituent Assembly they faced a lot of challenges. Do you know what are the challenges they faced? Okay children, you know that time India got freedom. We were under British rule. Okay, India got freedom, and we got freedom from Britishers, but India is not free from many problems. Okay, after the after we got freedom, the main problem that faced India, that is partition. Okay, India divided into two, India and Pakistan. So many problem will come such a situation. Okay, many people, many refugees are there. Refugees problem, either they will go to India, they will go to Pakistan. So refugees problem, many From Pakistan they came to India, from India they went to Pakistan. So that people sometimes they may be professionals, they have lot of land. When they came from Pakistan, they left everything and they came to India. In the same way, from India also they have maybe good professionals, went to Pakistan. So they faced a lot of problem, refugee problem. That is one important problem faced after partition. Then say another some problem, that is integration of princely state. You know, India, many princely state, India divided into many princely states. So either they will join in India, otherwise they will join in Pakistan. So that problem. Okay, then many state demanded they want a linguistic state based on the language. So disintegration of this state. So many, and like that, so many problem. Then unemployment, that another problem. Unemployment, poverty. Okay, then economic condition of India, that also you know. Britishers, they ruled India. How many years they ruled? Okay, 190 years they ruled. Okay, whatever they want they took from India. Our wealth, that is drained to England in the form of goods, in the form of salary, everything they took from India. Okay, so economic condition of India, that also big problem. Okay, so these people, those who became the part of this Constituent Assembly, they want to look many areas. Okay, so making the constitution is not an easy task for them. They want to touch every field, economic field, then rule, which type of rules, regulations, then majority, minority, that caste, everything, religion, everything they want to look. So it is not an easy task for them. Okay, so anyway, they took 3 years for completing the formation of our constitution, and finally our constitution was adopted. Okay, and that significance already we discussed. Okay, that is only about the Constituent Assembly. Okay, so Constituent Assembly, some indirectly elected members who is responsible for the framing of Indian Constitution. Okay, children, this much only this chapter. Okay, read the textbook. If you have any doubt, you can call me or you can send message. Okay, I think all of you got an idea about this chapter. Okay, we will meet in the next class. Bye.